So, if you have some basic math skills and a little bit of knowledge of physics, well, then you should be able to figure out this simple little problem. Matter of fact, let me go ahead and read the problem. It is as follows. A car traveling in a straight line along a road at 20 meters per second steps on the gas. 3 seconds later, the car's speed is 32 meters per second. What we want to do here is find the car's average acceleration. All right, so this is the problem. You do need to know a physics formula, but this formula is not that difficult. But some of you out there know some science, and you might think to yourself, well, okay, I know what acceleration is. And even if you don't know what acceleration is, kind of think about it. Think about the force that you experience when you are accelerating. Now, what is acceleration? It's that force that we feel when we speed up. When you step on the pedal of a car, step on the gas, right? You are speeding up. It's that force that pushes you back into your seat. Matter of fact, the force that keeps us on planet Earth so we don't float off into space is acceleration. Okay, so this force is acceleration. That's what I'm trying to say. Or when you're at, taking a roller coaster ride, that force that's pushing you back in your seat is acceleration. So think about what that could possibly mean, but have fun with this problem. Of course, I'll show you the formula and we'll go through this thing step by step. But if you have the answer, put that into the comment section. Then, of course, we'll walk through exactly how to solve this problem and kind of do a little bit of a micro physics lesson on acceleration as well. But before we get started, let me quickly introduce myself. My name is John, and I have been teaching middle and high school math for decades. And if you need help learning math, well, check out my math help program at tcmathacademy.com. You can find a link to that in the description below. And if this video helps you out, or if you just enjoy this content, make sure to like and subscribe, as that definitely helps me out. All right, so first things first, we have a lovely physics problem. Now, just like any math word problem, always read the thing at least 3 times, absorb the information, and then come up with a plan to solve it. Now here, you get to know a couple things. First, we have to know average acceleration. We have to know the formula for it. And then second of all, we need to be able to do the calculations to come up with the right answer. But the great thing about this problem is that the calculations are very easy. Matter of fact, you can even put your calculator away. But what we want to do is try to model the problem. Okay, if you can do this, and if you can visualize the problem, it's always the best thing. So we can come up with a lovely, basic, simple sketch here. Matter of fact, let's go and take a look at it. So we have this car, and it's going 20 meters per second. Now this is the speed of the vehicle. Now you might be saying, "Hey, why don't we use miles per hour?" Well, I could have used miles per hour, or kilometers per hour, but meters per second is a very it's just going to be a nice unit of measure to use for this problem, for this nice basic physics problem here. So this car is going 20 meters per second, and it's speeding up to 32 meters per second over a period of time of 3 seconds. So here, this car is at a constant velocity. Here it is at a constant velocity, but in between, the car, this velocity here is changing. It's changing over this time, okay, over this particular time frame. So its acceleration is, obviously it's going from here, from no acceleration. It's a kind of, in its state. Now it steps on the gas. It's accelerating up to this, speed. Now, you might be saying, well, let's get back to this. It's traveling along a straight line, this part in the formula, because in real life, nobody drives in a perfectly straight line, right? You're probably doing a little bit of swerving. And of course, a real life problem would involve a car trying to stay perfectly in a straight line because these little swerves here causes other forces. So again, this is a very oversimplification of a real life scenario. Now, for those of you that want to be engineers or physicists, that type of thing, if you wanted to actually figure out the acceleration of the vehicle, at 1.7 seconds into this speed change, you could do that, and you can use other formulas to include more advanced math like calculus as well. But here, all we need to do is some basic math to figure out what the average acceleration is. But again, outside of just knowing what that force of acceleration feels like, it's that force that puts us back in our seat right here, right? That's what acceleration is. But what is it in terms of a formula. Okay, well, how do we define it? Well, let's going to do that right now because we got to understand the definition of average acceleration in order to solve a problem about it. So average acceleration is equal to the change in velocity over the change in time. Okay, and velocity is effectively speed. You can kind of think of that. So we have the speed of the vehicle, and we know the time change that the speed changed. Okay, it went from one speed to another speed, and we know and what period of time that took. But here is a lovely, fancy formula that if you are taking a physics class, you can very well see. Now, I write this formula down, or I put this formula down here just to kind of make a point that in math and in science, there is a lot of scary-looking formulas. In other words, if someone had never saw a formula like this, they'd be like, "This is just way too over the top. I'm not going to study this. Look at this. This looks like Albert Einstein stuff." Well, this is super easy. Okay, so this little triangle right here, okay, is referred to as delta. All right, it's just a Greek symbol. I believe it's D, but it's just delta. This is what we call this, delta, delta V. Now, for those of you that watch a lot of movies, you probably watch movies where there's space or science stuff going on, and you might hear them talk about delta V, delta T, delta P, delta T. All this delta means is, again, it's this symbol here, but the delta means means difference, okay? So delta means subtraction. We're going to actually subtract. It's the difference. Delta is difference. So a change in velocity is we're basically going to subtract the two speeds that we have. That is the delta. If we have two time periods, like 4 seconds and 6 seconds, if we want to find the delta, we simply subtract. So delta is difference. It's no more complex than that. All right, so again, in physics and in science, you will see this triangle, and that is delta V. Okay, so delta V over delta T. So we have acceleration is equal to delta V over delta T. All right, so that is that. Now, what we have to do is apply the information to figure out the average acceleration. Okay, so do we have the velocity? Yes, we do. Do we have the time change that this speed change occurred, the velocity change occurred? Do we have the time, the respective time frame? Yes, we do. That's 3 seconds. Of course, we have the two speeds here. So let's just go ahead and plug in all the numbers, and we got 20 meters per second. Is the starting speed or the starting velocity, and of course the car is going to end at 32 meters per second over a time span of 3 seconds. Okay, so we got pretty much everything we need, so let's go and plug this information into the formula. All right, so average acceleration, and notice there is a bar over the A. Okay, that means average, so that is not a small little trivial detail, is equal to delta V over delta T, or the change of velocity over the change of time. So we have 32 meters per second minus 20 meters per second over 3 seconds. Okay, now here, this 32 comes first because this acceleration of this car is speeding up. So that's a positive acceleration. So 32 minus 20 is going to give us a positive number. If we started with 20 minus 32, well, that would give us a negative number or a negative acceleration, which is a deceleration. So we don't have that situation right now. This car is speeding up, not slowing down. So we just got to pay attention to the order of our velocities here, right? So this is going to give us a positive number, not a negative number. So that is our delta V. Our delta T is 3 seconds. That is how the time it took from time 0 when the car was at this speed to get to this speed. So we went from 0 to 3 seconds later. So pretty straightforward. So that's our delta T. All right, so now we're going to just do some real simple arithmetic. But the exciting part of this problem is going to be how to get to the units of measure of acceleration, which is meters per second squared. All right, so here we go. So 32 meters per second minus 20 meters per second over 3 seconds is equal to 12 meters per second over 3 seconds. Now, for those of you that, you don't have to know physics, but if you have some basic math skills, you should be able to clean this up and get to this unit of measure, which is meters per second squared, which is the unit of measure for acceleration. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to the second half of this problem, which is to figure out this unit of measure, because the math is pretty straightforward here. So we have 12 meters per second divided by 3 seconds. Now, of course, 12 divided by 3 is going to be 4, But let's just walk through this nice, lovely fraction problem step by step. Okay, so our numerator here is 12 meters per second. So that means what? Well, that means 12 meters per 1 second. All right, so we're going to write this way. So this is our numerator, and we're going to divide 12 meters per second by 3 seconds. Okay, so we're going to write this fraction this way. 12 meters per 1 second divided by 3 seconds. Now I'm doing this so we can really take a close look on how we end up with meters per second squared. Because in science, okay, and in math as well, you have to be able to manage these units of measure, right? That's really important. And a matter of fact, it's a good way to kind of keep you on track in terms of working out solutions, especially in courses like physics, chemistry, etc., etc. Okay, so first things first, we're going to go ahead and write this fraction this way, and now we're going to go ahead and divide these fractions. All right, so how do you divide fractions? Well, what we're going to do is change this from a division problem into a multiplication problem by flipping the fraction to the right of the division symbol. So we're taking 12 meters per second, and we're going to divide it by 3 seconds, or 3 seconds over 1. So anytime you want to think of something as a fraction, just put it over 1. So we have 12 meters per second. We're going to divide it by 3 seconds over 1. So we're going to flip this upside down. And then this becomes a multiplication problem. So that's 1 over 3 seconds. Okay, so this is where we're at right now. So now let's go ahead and work on cleaning this up. Okay, so our average acceleration is going to be 12 meters per second times 1 over 3 seconds. So we're going to multiply these two fractions. Of course, we're going to multiply the respective numerators and denominators. So 12 meters times 1 is 12 meters. 1 second times 3 seconds is going to be 3 seconds squared. Okay, so we have second times seconds, which is seconds squared. So this is really important for those of you to be aware of when you are working with units of measure in physics, science, math. Doesn't make a difference. You're like, oh, I have a second here, a second here. It doesn't make sense to come up with second squared. Well, yes, indeed, you have to write this as second squared. So we have 12 meters divided by 3 seconds squared. Okay, so now we can take this 12 and divide it by 3, which of course is 4. So 12 divided by 3 is going to be 4 meters per second squared. Now, you would have it kind of, at this point, you could just take the 3 and, or 12 divided by 3, you would have it as 4 meters per second squared. But typically, you're not going to write it this way. You're going to see it written this way, 4 meters per second squared. Okay, so that is our average acceleration. And again, the concepts in physics, at least in kind of basic physics, are not overly difficult. Acceleration, velocity, etc., etc. So if you have some basic math skills, you can understand some basic physics. But if you want to understand more physics, more science, you're going to need more math skills. So for those of you that are interested in physics, and hopefully if you've never taken the course and you like math and science, well, physics is an awesome course. So there's kind of different levels of physics. If you're let's say, a high school student, you could take physics that is basically kind of an intro class to the subject. So there you need some algebra, geometry, and some basic trigonometry. You probably you would at least need to know that much math to take like a introductory level physics course. But if you're going off to college, you're going to need to know some calculus, okay? So calculus is typically a prerequisite before you take physics. Matter of fact, there's things called calculus-based physics, and I took all those courses along with a lot of other science courses. Fantastic courses. You learn a ton about about the world around you. Okay, whether it's acceleration, forces, electricity. It's just a fantastic course. So hopefully, some of you out there might get motivated to want to continue more physics. But if you enjoyed this little video, if you learned something, well, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. And with that being said, I definitely wish you all the best in your math adventures. Thank you for your time and have a great day.